Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. Don't miss Dan Proft going head-to-head with Juan Williams on Tuesday, April 25th at Beyond the Talking Points. Get your tickets today at 560theanswer.com/beyond.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Are you wondering to yourself as you contemplate finishing up your taxes, if you haven't already, hey, how's the IRS going to spend that $80 billion they got from some Democrats and surrender Republicans this year? Great question. In comes IRS Commissioner Danny Werfel. Danny Werfel, the Heisman Trophy winner?
How did that happen? When did he go to accounting school?
He goes to win an Heisman Trophy to run in the IRS?
Huh?
At least he's a Christian. No, it's different, Danny Werfel.
Oh, boo.
Yeah.
Wanted to do the Heisman move.
Danny Werfel says the agency will focus on being a world-class customer service operation.
Yeah, because they make so many robocalls. Just another reminder, don't pick up the phone. The IRS does not call you.
I mean, in case
maybe
it's not
they'll start.
obvious, in case it's not obvious, you have to be completely humorless and unself-aware to hold the position IRS commissioner. And when you have to make statements like, we're really going to turn this place into a world-class customer service operation. Uh-huh.
Yeah, like Twitter and a lot of great customer service there. Oof.
Now, he pledges, per Mr. 10%, the big guy, that going to raise a bunch more money, and none of the money will raise audit rates on small businesses and households making under $400,000 a year relative to historic levels. Relative to historic levels, that's an interesting phrase to throw in. Yeah. Well, the focus, of course, is 400,000, so people are led to believe, purposely misled to believe, that is, that if they make less than $400,000, they won't be hearing from the IRS. In point of fact, the Joint Committee on Taxation, as the Wall Street Journal reports, estimates 78 to 90% of the money raised from underreported income will be from those making less than $200,000 a year. Right. Just like raising taxes on the rich. If you want to believe that, then apparently you don't pay attention to your own household budget or bottom line, because it just never, ever turns out that way. Why? Because that's not where the money is. Yeah. But exciting times. And maybe with respect to audits, he could improve on the relative historic rates of oversight of federal employees. We mentioned this a couple weeks back when it was first reported. Just shy of 5% of federal employees owe back taxes as of fiscal year 2021. That's 149,000 federal civilian employees. 149,000 federal civil employees owe $1.5 billion in unpaid taxes. Reportedly, 42,000 federal civilian employees didn't even file tax returns for multiple years.
Oh, my God.
Maybe once you clean up the federal government before you worry about the people who work to finance it. For more on this and other matters, dollars and cents, please be joined by economist and Govzilla author Steve Moore. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, guys. By the way, didn't Danny Werfel play for the Bears?
Yeah, I did for
Maybe
a year.
not.
Yeah, but not the IRS commissioner. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
are you excited about this new and improved IRS?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to double the size, and it's going to be friendlier, and they're just going to be
twice as friendly.
They're not going to harass you. They're actually going to help you fill out your tax forms.
I mean, they're going to have a call center.
Yeah. Exactly. They already have one. But have you ever tried that, by the way? If you do their call service, the one on your line, first of all, you're going to be on hold for like 3 hours.
Right.
And then I haven't checked this lately, but I remember about 10 years ago I did a study, and like 33% of the time the IRS gave you the wrong answer. So even the IRS couldn't understand the tax laws. My first response to everything you were talking about, Dan and Amy, is can't we just have a flat tax, for God's sakes? Can't we just have a really simple system with a postcard return? You pay 18% of your income, you get it right off your kids, and and for yourself, and then you just 18% of your income, and everybody sends it in. It would be so simple. You would get rid of instead of doubling the IRS agents, we could cut the IRS agents by about 80%. You wouldn't have legions of tax attorneys and lawyers and estate planners and all of this stuff. I mean, the whole thing is such a damn waste of money. And why is a country that's supposed to be so smart with $22 trillion GDP? Why do we still have a early 20th century tax system that is so goddamn complicated?
Wow! Now you're
that's big
boy,
GD
he's working blue today. He's upset. Well, the good news is,
Well,
Danny,
you know why I'm in this mood? Because I'm working on my taxes.
Because you just finished your taxes.
Yeah, they're due, and they're due. What I think you get till April 18th this year, right? I think because of
that's right.
I think I read they're giving you three. The government's getting so generous under Biden; they're giving you 3 extra days to do your. But look, the other reason I'm angry about this, guys, is that that when I was nominated to be on the Federal Reserve Board, the next day the New York Times had a front page story about Steve $50,000 tax lien from unpaid taxes, which I fought for 4 years, and finally the IRS said, "Oopsie daisy, yeah, you're right. We owe you money. You don't owe us money." I'm like, "Oh, good. Where do I get my reputation back?" Now you plastered this all over the country that Steve Moore doesn't pay his taxes, and I bet half the people listening to this show have similar stories. So, do I want to have them hire 80,000 new IRS agents? Hell no. I think that's un-American.
Well, I mean, other good news coming from the IRS, in addition to the increasing friendliness that you described, is technology. I mean, they're going to correct this backward operation they have, as you were describing, and it's going to be much more technologically advanced and so much more efficient.
They're going to have IRS artificial intelligence, right? They're going to know everything
exactly. ChatGPT is going to be the new IRS commissioner after we're full.
But look, it is serious. It's a serious business because there is no institution of government that is more intrusive in terms of your private life than the IRS, and they want to get to know everything about you. So we've seen, obviously, with what's going on with Trump, the weaponization of the FBI. We're seeing the weaponization of the Justice Department. We've seen under Obama the weaponization of the IRS when the IRS, enforcement agencies were instructed to go after conservative groups and conservative individuals. So, Biden saying, "Oh no, we're not going to use this for political purposes." Does anybody believe that?
All right, I have some happier news for you. The COVID emergency is over. President Biden declared it's over, so it's all over.
God, how'd you celebrate?
Yeah,
it's only been 3 years and 2 months, right, or something like that. Well, it's funny you should mention that because. Have you guys seen this new glitzy TV ad that Gavin Newsom is running? Have you seen this? Where he's talking about freedom states, and it's states like Illinois and California and New York and New Jersey are the freedom states because they allow anybody to have an abortion, and they don't ban books from libraries and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, and I thought of this morning in the context of that. Wait a minute, if you do a map of the states that completely shut down all freedom in their states during COVID, let's see which states were those. Oh yeah, New York, California, New Jersey, Illinois. Whereas the red states stayed open. They didn't shut down their businesses. They didn't shut down their schools. They didn't basically arrest for people for violating curfews. And so now we're being led to understand that it's actually the blue states that are the freedom states.
Well, but do you have forgiveness in your heart? Because I don't. I'm never, ever going to forget what they did to my kids. We had 8 days of school, 8 days of in-person learning, the whole 2020 to 2022. I mean, it was fraudulent. And the teachers union, they took shots from people from group homes because they said, we'll get 1 shot and we'll go back to work. Well, then they got their 1 shot. Now we need 2. And now we need 2 weeks after the second shot because we have to let it kick in.
Right.
It was all just selfish. And if doctors or nurses or anybody else performed the way the teachers did, this country would have never reopened.
You're exactly right. And by the way, do you guys remember it was 2 weeks to stop the spread or something like that? 2 weeks turned into 2 months and turned into 2 years. So anyway, I mean, this is you mentioned something really important though about the fact that the schools were shut down because, I live in Montgomery County, Maryland. We're like the third wealthiest county in the United States, and this is something that's happening in Montgomery County, but it's also happening in a lot of counties. I understand from my friends in Illinois, which is that the school districts want more money. They always want more money, right? And so I don't know if you're seeing this in a lot of the Illinois counties, but we're seeing it here in Maryland. They want to raise property taxes because they need more money for the schools. And I'm like, are you people serious? You didn't teach our kids for a year and a half. You collected our money. You didn't provide any services. And now you want to raise taxes again for the schools? I mean, they should be, every single county where the schools were shut down should be sending taxpayers a refund check for not providing the services that we pay our property taxes for.
On another matter, our House Republicans, there's some noise. House Republicans are going to come up with their own budget that includes trillions in spending cuts over the next several years. Is that right? What's the story there?
Well, I've heard that rumor, too. I have not seen the budget. I did talk to a bunch of the House Republican caucus members about this. But, yeah, we got to chop at least $1 or $2 trillion out of the budget right away. I mean, COVID is over. We should be, we're going to run a deficit this year that's almost the highest in American history. I know that surprised you because Biden's running around the country saying he's slashing the deficit. But, 2 years after COVID ended, the emergency's over, and we're still running the biggest deficits ever in this country. Does that make any sense?
Well, no, it doesn't. But the appetite among House Republicans is what I'm trying to get a handle on.
Well, I don't have a good answer for that. I mean, look, I don't know if they're going to be able to get the votes. They only have, 221. They only have about a 5-seat majority. So can you get 218 votes to pass a budget that actually cuts spending? I don't know. I hope that we do. I mean, I think it's the most important priority in America today economically is to take a chainsaw to the federal budget and cut out all the fat and the waste. And how about going after the people who stole all the money from COVID?
Yeah.
It's over $300 billion. $300 billion were stolen, and nobody does anything about it?
It's almost as much as the federal employees owing back taxes. Exactly. Hey, before we let you go, since you know.
By the way, hold on, Dan. I heard. Is it true? Is it true that Chicago is now the glittering example of progressive governance, and that Chicago may be where the Democratic?
No, it is.
No, it is. It's been made official. Tammy Duckworth, the senator, and Lori Lightfoot got it done. Yeah, that's
perfect. I mean, it just says everything, doesn't it, about the Democratic Party? They actually think Chicago is a success story.
No, it's a perfect symbol for what Democratic leadership has to offer, Stephen Moore.
Exactly.
So, Steve, at the federal level, we have an announcement today. Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina running for president. What's your assessment of Senator Scott and the role he plays in this race, the viability he has as a presidential candidate?
Sorry, is this Rick Scott or Tim Scott?
Tim Scott.
Tim Scott.
Oh, Tim Scott. I like them both. Right. But Tim Scott, I'm a big fan of Tim Scott. So I think it would be awesome to have, a black senator who is a Republican running for the presidency. So I'm all for it. He's a great guy. The big question is, can anybody topple Trump at this point, now that he's become a victim of government abuse? But I'm all in favor of Tim Scott. But I'm going to throw another name by you guys because I've just met her, had dinner with her last week, and I am in love with Kim Reynolds of Iowa.
Yeah, she's been very good.
Awesome. And you know what? She would be a total nightmare for the Democrats if she. She's not a soccer mom. She's a soccer grandmom, and she's a real. I describe her as America's Margaret Thatcher. She's tough. She's cut taxes. She's done school choice. She's cut the budget. She's exactly what this country needs. So keep an eye on Kim Reynolds. But I love Tim Scott too. I think he could be a force to be contended with. And having blacks and women running on the Republican ticket would be fantastic.
I think Tim Scott would be a great VP pick for Trump.
Yep, I agree. But I'd take Kim Reynolds over Tim Scott. But Tim Scott would be up there. But look, and Tim Scott, it talks about the fact, that has he suffered from racism? Yes. But he's not a victim guy. You know? So I love that about him.
Steve Moore, GovZilla author and economist. Steve, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, I can't wait to come to the Democratic Convention. Will there be rioting, and will it be like 68 all over again? Or?
With a shoot-to-kill order? Yeah,
mostly
arson. Yeah,
mostly peaceful.
Mostly peaceful.
peaceful.
Yeah.
Okay. See you guys. Bye.